Yo, what's up, guys? You got pokeaim here with some tier changes happening this February. I mean, you guys already heard the title. I mean, not heard it, but you probably saw the title. I already know what I'm titling this before I even make the video. But we have some crazy tier changes. Not necessarily too much for OU, UU going on, but definitely with RU. I mean, you saw the title. RU. We'll talk about that soon, though. But big shouts to Antar, of course. Antar is the data miner. And basically, a few changes to OU, or I guess to UU, really. But Kingdra has moved down from O to UU. Now, I do want to say one thing before people saying, oh my god, why is Smogon doing this? No, no, no. Guys, these are all usage-based. Tiers are usage-based. So based on how many people use this Pokemon is what tier it's based in. And there's a cutoff for drops and rises as well. But if a Pokemon isn't being used enough, then it moves down. Though, of course, in a tier, specifically, if a Pokemon is deemed broken, it will get banned. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when it comes to RU, but there was no suspect tests for RU or quick bans just because RU is in its alpha. Anyway, going on. So Kingdra moved from OU to UU, which is interesting to think about because Kingdra can definitely abuse Rain a lot in the UU tier. Pokemon like Politoed down there, Tornadus, Toxicroak, so really solid UU Rain abuser. I mean, Rain did change from Gen 6 to Gen 7, I feel. In Gen 6, you needed Ferrothorn, a Mega to break through opposing Ferrothorn, and then like your Rain abuser in Tornadus, Kingdra, Politoed, and then maybe another Rain abuser. Whereas in this generation, I feel like Rain can be a lot bulkier. Rain can run Tapu Koko for electric terrain and thunder spamming. It can definitely be, like, you could even see Landers on. Well, Landers is on a lot of teams this generation, but I feel like Rain has changed so much that it doesn't need to be like straight up offense with Kingdra being on it. So Kingdra moving down from OU to UU also makes sense with Pokemon like Toxapex and Tapu Fini in the tier, both of which walling Kingdra, the one having recovery, obviously Toxapex Toxic and Toxspike wearing down Kingdra, whereas Tapu Fini outright beats it based on typing alone, immune to Draco Meteor, or Dragon type stab in general. Resistant to Rain Boosted Hydro Pump. Scolipede has moved from BO to OU. Based on usage, it makes sense. Scolipede is a great speed baton passer in the OU tier. Can also get up hazards. Can also sweep with SD speed boost. It was banned to BL from UU, so it was banned from UU, but now it went to OU. Zarwai was also banned from UU and went to BL, and now it's moved to OU based on usage. I mean, it makes perfect sense. It was all about the new toy syndrome, which is the only reason why Zarwai was ever not OU in the first place. A lot of new Pokemon came out. People were like, "Oh my God, look, this Decidueye looks really cool. Oh my God, this Dhelmise. Oh wow, Incineroar. It's a fire type cat." But as the tiers kept going, people finally realized, "Oh my God, Mega Charizard Y is still just as good, if not better, than it was in the previous generation." So it's finally been used enough on the ladder to go back up to OU. Clefable moved from OU to UU. I mean, it was bound to happen. I think Clefable is one of those Mons that's really slept on right now. But with Pokemon like Toxapex, with Haze running around, Haze, Tapu Fini, Taunt, Calm Mind, Tapu Fini, the fact that Thunder Wave is 90% accurate, all the the fairies running around as well. I don't know. I feel like Clefable usage just went down based on that. There's a bunch of new stuff. The Tapus in general definitely limit that. Clefable can't switch in as much as it wanted to before, as well as, like I said, the Thunder Wave nerf. Not only the accuracy, but the speed. Pokemon that Clefable once outsped and could beat 1v1 can now still outspeed Clefable into a KO regardless of being Thunder Wave. But I feel like Clefable is one of those sleeper mons. Mantine moved from OU to UU. This one, I can't really say for sure why it moved down. Again, I do want to know your thoughts. I'll leave this link. I'll link this down below, of course, and I do want to know your thoughts on all this. But Mantine moved down. I mean, Mantine's role was to defog, and it's the difference between that and maybe some standard defoggers now, like Tapu Fini probably being one of the best defoggers in the tier, or even Lottie, is the fact that it had water absorb, so immune to water, and also had access to Roost. However, being weak to Stealth Rock is huge, especially when being a defogger, so it definitely limits your capabilities. Mantine's very passive. I mean, it does have Scald, which, you know, has that chance to burn, but Mantine is also 1v1 by all the opposing defoggers anyway. Lottie beats him 1v1, T-Bolt, Draco, Psyshock. Tapu Fini can Nature's Madness, taunted from preventing Roost, can't be burnt because of Misty Terrain. So Mantine, again, I think it was one of those new toys, like, oh cool, Mantine has Roost, it has this buff in its stats now, let's go ahead and use it, but eventually it just went down. Salamence moved from BO to OU, about time. Salamence is a major threat right now. It got banned from UU because of the Dragon Dance Supersonic Sky Strike, and it deserved to be banned from UU. It was broken. That boy's nasty in OU. That man gets a Dragon Dance Supersonic Sky Strike, your Landers drops, your Tapu Fini drops, it makes sense. I think Salamence is going to be a giant OU threat. All the Pokemon that can use Supersonic Sky Strike and have stab with it. I want to say Pokemon like Salamence, like Dragonite, like Gyarados, I see them all moving up to OU. Volcarona, BO to OU, makes sense. Volcarona is great right now. Switching in and taking on Pheromosa, taking on Scizor, taking on Celesteela, can Z-moves, can Bloom Doom, can Giga Drain, and beat Tapu Fini 1v1. At their +1, it's incredible. Put that as well with the fact that a lot of landers aren't also running Stone Edge right now because they have to run HP Ice because of Salamence opposing Dual Dance landers and things like that. Volcarona just, it's a giant threat. Deserves to be OU. Now, RU. Look at this list. RU has lost 19 Mons, if I'm not mistaken, if I haven't counted this wrong. Big shout out to my boy EonX, by the way. He put this list together. RU has lost 19 Mons, but RU did gain Beware, Gigalith, and Magneton. Gigalith is really cool because now RU has a Sand Setter. So that uses Sandstream, so we can abuse that with our Sand Rush Pokemon. Pokemon like Stoutland, I can see being used down there. Beware going down is really cool. Choice Band Beware is actually incredibly strong. It actually has a 96% chance to 2-hit KO physically defensive Alamola, the standard set, which is, I believe, is 104 HP, 216 defense with a defense boosting nature. 96% chance to 2-hit KO after Stealth Rock and Leftovers Recovery. Of course, if they're running Rocky Helmet, 2-hit KO after Stealth Rock. So Beware is really cool down there. And Magneton is also really nice, especially because the tier just lost Swampert. So Magneton, Analytic Magneton hits incredibly hard. I understand why it moved down from a UU. Well, I don't know. I feel like Magneton's usage went down. I feel like Magneton could be a mon that definitely goes back up to the UU tier, but it just happened to move down when Zard and all those stuff were in the actual tier. So I understand why Magneton dropped, just because those mons were in the tier, but then they got banned. So I can see Magneton going back up. But RU has lost Togekiss, Swampert, Alakazam, Mega Absol, Crobat, Chandeleur, Klefki, Suicune, Celebi, The Blade, Mienshao, Metagross, Roserade, Arcanine, Lucario, Haxorus, Kommo-o, Araquanid, and Porygon 2. All those mons have gone up to the UU tier. They are all now gone from the RU tier. First off, Togekiss. Ridiculous in the RU tier. Thunder Wave, Air Slash, Nasty Plot, Fire Blast, Aura Sphere, Dazzling Gleam, Scarf, Support with Heal Bow, Stall Breaker, specifically Defog. It was huge. It was great in the RU tier, and it's about time that thing got. It's about time that man got away. Like, this thing could 1v1 bulky teams all on its own. And I mean, it does the exact same thing in UU. I believe Togekiss was actually banned from UU last generation. I think I was actually part of the council when we moved it from UU to BL. I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure Togekiss was BL last generation, and I'm pretty sure I had a say in that in a vote. But Togekiss definitely was one of the best defoggers that RU had. Speaking of best defoggers, Togekiss and Crobat were two of the best defoggers that RU have. So now RU has lost its defoggers, and that means I believe the defoggers RU has left are, just to name a few, or three off the top of my head, Lurantis, Shiftry, and Gligar. Those are some of its best ones. And I was talking with EonX, and it's a lot like Black and White 2 RU, where UU took a bunch of the hazard control, and we were left with that. Surprisingly, Entei is still in RU, which is, again, a lot like Black and White 2, because Entei was also in RU. Swampert's gone, about time, reliable Stealth Rocker. It does what it does best. It gets up Stealth Rock, it takes physical hits, it Earthquakes. Darmanitan is also another fire type that is still in the RU tier, and it really appreciates the fact that Swampert is gone as well. Obviously, Alamola is in the tier as well, but Arcanine being gone, Swampert being gone, great for Darmanitan. But Swampert makes sense, great rocker. Alakazam is gone from the tier. High speed tier, Magic Guard, can run Calm Mind, can run Life Orb. If it's running Focus Sash, it can pretty much get away and not die. And the fact that it can also run Thunder Wave to cripple Pokemon that can take it on makes sense. Mega Absol moved up from RU to UU. So again, some hazard control going down. The auto Mega Boost, Mega Buff Boost, Speed Boost made Mega Absol great, having 361 attack immediately. And definitely in the tier, RU, SD, Iron Tail, Knockoff, Sucker Punch, really all you needed in that tier. Crobat being gone sucks for RU as a defogger. Honestly, a lot of these mons being gone, Crobat, Chandeleur, which is next on the list, Klefki, and I want to say Arcanine, Metagross, and Como, even Porygon too. A lot of those mons are really good versus Sun, so I can see Sun being a lot better. And RU still has Ninetales with Drought, it still has Torkoal with Drought. RU also still has Alolan Ninetales with Hail. And some of these mons being gone is great for that. Again, going through the list, Chandeleur with Infiltrator, Crobat with Infiltrator, going through Aurora Veil. Aurora Veil was crazy. Klefki being gone is great for Alolan Ninetales. Metagross being gone is great for Alolan Ninetales. Arcanine being gone, Lucario, Haxorus. I mean, it's not to say that Alolan Ninetales isn't good. It is good, because Aurora Veil can be used in any tier and be solid in any tier, but that still being down there is crazy. Chandeleur is gone, again, making Sun even better. Pokemon like Venusaur get very scary now that Chandeleur was a Pokemon that resisted its stabs and could deal with it on Sun. It being gone, Venusaur is looking very scary on Sun. Klefki is another mon that could Thunder Wave, could Spike support. I mean, Klefki needed to be gone. It was a great spiker. Very restrictive. Like, I feel like Klefki was one of those mons that just needed to be gone. Surprisingly, though, Crawdon is still in the tier, so that's a mon that would definitely appreciate the fact that not necessarily that Klefki's gone, because Klefki couldn't Thunder Wave it, but it definitely could, at least on the Sunny Day variants, it could take Crab Hammers, play rough, do some damage. It definitely appreciates Pokemon like Togekiss being gone, though, that could check it, as well as Suicune being gone. Finally, massive bulky water in the tier, moved up for you as it should be, being able to take on pretty much half the tier, dragons as well as fire types, even opposing bulky waters with Calm Mind. Celebi moved up as well, makes sense. Nasty Black and Baton Pass, though of course Baton Pass is banned in UU. Just the move in general is banned, but which is funny that they did that this generation. But it definitely has a lot. It can Nasty Plaque and Calm Mind, it can Swords Dance, it can U-turn around, it can pivot, it can set up rocks, it can paralyze, it can Leech Seed, so it can even heal Bell. Celebi has a lot of stuff. To Blade going up, the fighting types running around, checks Pokemon like Mienshao, which is another mon that went up. Mienshao also deserved to go up as well, one of the best Scarfers in the RU tier. Metagross is gone, which again, it just helps so much. Like a lot of the steel types, or two of the good, two solid steel types, the Blade and Metagross are gone. Even Lucario from the tier. So Pokemon like again, Aurora Veil, Alolan Ninetales, gonna thrive in this tier. Rosary is gone. We lost another hazard setter as well as a sleep powder user, a Pokemon that can actually take on bulky waters like Alomola, Arcanine. It was inevitable that half these mons were moving up, though. They're just being used in UU, so it makes sense. Of course, I do want to know your thoughts on them. Lucario and Haxorus and Como were great sweepers in the tier. I love Como specifically because Como could be Specs or it could be a Dragon set, both of which were scary, especially with all-out pummeling or even just Specs, Clanging Scales. Araquanid moving up. I was actually a little bit surprised Araquanid moved up. I think it also is the new Toy Syndrome. I mean, it's not bad Pokemon at all. Liquidation hits ridiculously hard. Especially on a choice band set, but I'm really surprised it to move up. I felt that it fit pretty well in the RU tier. I thought that it was like a mon that wasn't broken, like it was hard to switch into, but it's not like you couldn't beat it. And then Porygon 2 moved up, which is incredibly solid, I think, for offense and even for balance, because Porygon 2 is one of those mons that can just recover off, can status your team and beat you down. And that going up really helps offense in the RU tier. RU is weird right now, though. I don't even know if offense... I think the main offense is going to be... Because we can definitely use Aurora Veil, which obviously requires Hail. But that doesn't have to be a Hail team. Sun is going to be great. Half the mon's gone. Chandeleur, Klefki, Crobat, Absol, Sucker Punch, Sash, Alakazam, Arcanine, Lucario, Haxorus, Como, those are all answers to Sun mons, and now a lot of them are gone, so Sun's going to be crazy. Of course, like I said, I do want to know your thoughts. You can feel free to leave them down below. I will be linking this thread, but wow, so many mons gone. But we still have mons like Crobat, Entei in the tier, Florges, and whatnot, though I do see a lot of those mons going up as the months go on. But I do want to know your thoughts. Like I said, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, friends.